Welcome to PJ Talks Talk. I'm PJ, and today we're riding that up a mountain. Right, so where are we? We're in a mountainous region called Ras Al Khaimah, and look at the vista. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful here. We camped here last night, and today we're going to go up the Tabletop Mountain, which is a very steep incline with switchbacks. It's all kind of trail, very rock and loose sort of shingle and shale. We've done it before 3 years ago, me and my friend, and we're going to do it again today, but this time I'm hoping it's going to be a better experience, and I'll show you some of the footage of the last experience going up this mountain on a not so good bike really. It wasn't set up for me, it was set up for somebody else. It was an old KTM, the clutch was on its way out, and my technical ability was almost zero at that point. I think I'd done about 30 minutes on the bike, and we thought it'd be a good idea to come and ride it up a mountain. So I'm hoping with the brand new KTM SXF 450 that's set up for me with the correct sag, hoping I'm going to be a much better experience than it was last time because it was terrifying. So we'll see with two things. One, if my talent level's increased, and two, if the bike fares better.
You okay?
Huh?
You alright?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's a little off. Back will come out again. Quite an easy bit. Just split that as well.
Oh. Let's have a break if you want. Yeah? I've got the bike, mate.
I'm hanging on for dear life here.
You're doing well, mate. Look at that. Come on. Guess that's not worth it.
Check that out. So today's ride then, KTM SXF 450, 2023 model, and it's in this Motorex KTM UEE only livery, which is really nice. Normally KTMs, as you know, are kind of orange, white and black, but this is in that really nice sort of greeny turquoise colour. Anyway, 2023 model. It's a 450, as I say. What's good about this bike is it's got this kind of trick setup on the handlebar. It's got map 1 and map 2, so you can change the mapping of the engine from kind of linear acceleration to batshit crazy acceleration. Underneath we have traction control, we have the quick shifter, and if you push them both in at the same time, you've got launch control. Today I'll be in map 1 because I don't want the front wheel coming up, especially in the inclines, and I'm going to try out the traction control for the first time, having never used it, and see how that works. Essentially it senses the engine speed increasing, the revs increasing, and should stop the rear wheel from spinning in this sort of loose shale and track stuff we're going to be going on today. So heading off then from the campsite to the base of Tabletop Mountain. Initially it's all track, fairly easy going. It was quite rough and lots of loose stones. You can see the suspension working on the bike. As we approached what was a quite cool little Land Rover pickup, and also the friends that we were camping with that went hiking. So a quick hello to them and then off on up the road. So a fair few goats on the trail, but this one on the left here was so chilled, he just stayed exactly where he was. Obviously used to cars going past, but he was not moving. At this point we arrive at the base of Tabletop Mountain. It's a little right turn off the main drag, and we look back at each other. It's a quick, right, you ready for this? And off we go. From here it gets very technical very quickly, and the easy riding is completely and utterly finished. So we hit this first right turn and it's straight up, and cameras tend to hide the steepness of things, and you can actually see the steepness on the camera footage here. So it just goes to show just how steep it was. And my friend gets to the top. It's a left-hand turn into a sort of flat bit for a bit. It is still uphill, but nowhere near as bad. And you can see I haven't followed yet because I'm still at the bottom trying to pluck the courage up to start what is going to be an immense, about 16-kilometre ride to the top. So anyway, after a short wait, I eventually get the courage and head up the mountain. So we're heading down the kind of fun flat bit. There's a couple of little nice little jumps there, just gone over one there. My friend does a much bigger jump than I did. And this bit was really enjoyable because it flattened out a little bit. A tiny bit of downhill actually in places. It was just a nice ride. Getting used to the bike, how it felt, handling the bike in the sort of looser stone, and really getting a little bit of confidence up, jumping off these little jumps on the way up to the next real steep section. You can see I take this right turn and kind of run out of talent a bit here. End up on this rough, really rocky stuff on the left there. Managed to regain it and get going again. But that happened quite a few times with some of the bends. It's just having the confidence, I think, with a loose rear wheel to carry a bit of speed into a corner. And at this point we pass a sign that says no entry, which is a bit odd because there was no signs at the base of the mountain and you're pretty committed when you get to this point. We believe it was the left turn onto the plateau there, which I think someone may be going to be building a house or something, so that's why that sign was there, not for the actual trail. So we crack on down the hill a little bit and then back into the uphill windy stuff. And I showed you some footage earlier, and the footage where you can see me leaning on the bike with the bike pointing in the wrong direction is a part of the hill that's just coming up here. You come off a bit of a jump, so off this jump here I popped a massive wheelie and tried to go off that left hand side of the cliff, which is obviously not a great idea. So I managed to bail off the bike, but yeah. So this time I negotiated that not too bad, but this bend my friend is just going around now, I managed to get stuck here, which you're going to see in a sec. As he comes to this right hand turn and stops, looks back and realises I'm not there. What happens here is I come to that steep left turn and I go up to go into second and I end up going to third by accident, and the bike stalls. So not a problem, managed to stay on the bike, get it back down into first, start going up the hill, and obviously it's very steep into an immediate left turn. The bike stalls again, this time I'm bailed, so I have to jump off the bike, catch it. You can see it trying to go down the hill there a little bit. Managed to stop that, and then I just have to walk it up onto the straight bit. Very difficult to get a bike going when it's steep, loose sort of going, as well as a left turn. So just a little bit of throttle, walk it up the hill, and then jump back on again and head off. So at this point I've lost a bit of confidence. I've got both legs down, looking like a complete mong, an absolute amateur. And Cammie's screaming at me to get forward on the bike because of the steepness. But it felt comfortable because further back on the saddle I could put both feet down. Eventually, obviously, I listened to his advice because the front wheel kept on coming up on the slope. So sitting right forward on the bike really helped. So I managed to get up the hill a few more turns. And then I have another, which is probably actually the only really big off. But yeah, I've come off with the side here and not hurt, but literally had to bail because the bike and me was about to go off that cliff edge. My friend stops and looks back to see if I'm alright, gets the thumbs up, all good. Essentially what happened there is I came on the corner, blipped the throttle, the front wheel came up, and the bike decided to go right. And as soon as I got into the rougher stuff with the big boulders you can see by the my friend's bike there, another big wheelie trying to get left back out of that, and I was going off the cliff. But luckily I managed not to fly off the edge and managed just to bail off the bike, and the bike didn't go over, thank God. Oof. Oh, give me decal. Oh.
You alright?
It's a way better bike than last time though.
Yeah.
Let's just get used to the clutch, because again, it's very on-off.
Feeling alright though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good, yeah. Let's get up on that lip up there. So at this point we've got to get the bike back onto the little flat bit where my friend stopped, and you can hear in our voices just how hard it is to push this bike up. See what's starting with as well.
You wanted the adventure?
Oh yeah. It's not wrong. It was an adventure, and although really hard work, it was a lot of fun. You can see there, I just turned the traction control off because I think the traction control wasn't really helping. It was probably better to allow the rear wheel to spin a little bit and then use that as a bit of control like you do in the desert and the sand, which I'm really used to, having ridden in the desert a lot and on this bike, my new bike, and on previous bikes. But yeah, so traction control off, a little bit of a breather, some water, quick chat about sitting forward on the bike and what we're doing next, and we set off again.
It's got to relax a bit more on the bike as well. It's tense, really tense. That looks easy.
As you can hear there, my friend's clearly enjoying the big jumps. Gets around the corner though and finds me stationary, having just stalled again. Wrong gear selection, bike stalled, bogged down in that tight left-hand corner. I almost had to bail. The bike was trying to go to the right. I managed to slide from the left to the right, put my foot down and stop myself from falling, and get myself going again. And that's really the most difficult bit of Tabletop Mountain finished. It does get a bit twisty again in a bit, but the next few turns, it's not as steep, so it's easier to control the bike. A bit of confidence again back in my riding, which was nice, and that was helped by this next section because it goes from all this loose, sort of rocky, dusty stuff onto what is essentially a mountain path, where they've laid some concrete down over the stones. There was these big drop-offs here that my friend's about to go over. They were great fun, popping wheelies and jumping off those. But loads of grip, no loose stuff. It's still fairly steep, but not as steep as the trail beforehand. And this was a really nice break and a chance just to keep my feet on the pegs and just motor on up the mountain until it obviously stopped and it went back into the soft stuff. So the nice concreted path finished. I almost drove into the mountain here and then managed to get the bike going in the right direction. Back on the soft, loose sort of shale and stone and dust for a little bit, and some twisty bends, drop-offs. But again, because of that little break, it's amazing how much I relax in that short passage, and it just gave me the confidence just to use a bit of the power. Traction control is now off. You can see the rear wheel spinning, but that felt normal to me because all the riding I've done on a motocross bike has been in the sand, and that's just normally happens all the time. So yeah, really enjoyed this final stage of the mountain, going up towards the top, and myself and my friend managed to get a bit of speed on and just really enjoyed the ride from here, I think. Now on the right here, the drop-off is massive, and we didn't really sort of notice the drop-off on the way up. I got to the top and I was like, oh yeah. When we stopped and had a look at the view, you could see there was a massive drop-off everywhere. But when you're riding, there's so much concentration going into riding and keeping the bike in the same direction, or at least the right direction. You tend to just not look at the drop-off on the right and left, but it was mammoth by the time we got to this stage of the mountain.
Yeah, that was good, mate. Well done. That was good.
Oh, mate, tell you what, different bike though.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Well, that part there, when you went round that bend, was the part where the bike took you last time.
Yeah. I like to use the edges a little bit because it's built up, but what I don't want to do is go off the edge.
No, it's not. You following me this time, yeah?
Yeah.
Nearly there. Not far away.
So as you can see, the final stage of the mountain, looking down to the left in a minute, My friend looks left and you can see the view. It's just stunning. And so high up at this point. And it's such a quick climb because it's so steep. So you go from being, you know, down at kind of mountain pass level to being incredibly high very quickly. But yeah, really enjoyable part of the ride, as I say. The last little bit, I'm now behind my friend and he's blasting up the last bit. But check that view out, stunning. So the last tiny little bit of steepness, just towards the very end, a couple of little left and right tight turns, and then it really just started to flatten out. And the view from this point, from the left and the right of the mountain, is just spectacular. You can kind of see the drop off now on the right there a little bit. You certainly wouldn't want to go off that, but you can see the whole valley below and the entire trail on the way up. You can see the track we drove up, pretty much all of it down to the valley where the houses are at the bottom. So yeah, really impressive view on the last sort of, I don't know, 1 kilometre left to get to the very top. As you can see here, it flattens out a little bit and we get a little tribe of goats, a little greeting party showing us where the top is. But no goats were harmed in the filming of this video. They do jump off to the right here, but they're not lemmings, they're not committing suicide, they're just they're mountain goats and they're pretty handy at climbing. So yeah. As you can see, this is the top, past this car, and past some rubbish on the right, but that's obviously what that car's there to pick up. And the last little crest here, and that is the top of Tabletop Mountain.
Like, we're here already.
How long did that take us last time?
Huh?
How long did that take us last time? About
Oh, a while.
2 hours?
I don't know. A long time.
Yeah.
I was like, come around here, we're here already.
So at this point, I guess we can answer the questions which I posed at the beginning of the video, which is, has my talent got better? And is the bike better? Well, I think I've got slightly more talent. We did it in a way quicker time, just over 2 hours the first time round, and about 35 to 40 minutes the second time round. And also, the bike is way better. And that was probably the biggest improvement. And it made it so much easier to ride up the mountain. So after a brief stop, some water, and the opportunity to take some nice photographs, we started down the mountain. And often going down a mountain is much harder than going up, because when you get to the tight bends, you're not trying to power up the hill, you're trying to slow the bike down. It's so steep, even with the engine braking in first gear, the bikes are still going quite quickly. And then obviously a massive wheelie there from my friend. He's really enjoyed himself going down the hill. The bike will slip, the back brake, the back end tries to skip out and overtake the front end. On the front brake, obviously, you then start to get a bit of issue with steerage. It's usually difficult. But this time round, unlike the first time round, I wasn't absolutely exhausted from falling off and spending 2 hours on the side of a mountain trying to get up it. So we just flowed down the mountain. It was really enjoyable, and probably quicker going down than it was coming up. But yeah, no issues, no falling off. I think we stopped once or twice just to enjoy the view, take some more pictures, but pretty much just got down the mountain really quickly. So I'll fast forward this bit and I'll see you at the bottom. So back down towards the bottom of the mountain, we bumped into our friends who were just finishing their hike, about to turn around and head back to the campsite. So we had a quick catch up and a bit of a giggle with these guys, and then we headed off back to the campsite, and they joined us about an hour later. So this is the final part of the ride, a nice fast pace on the flat track, and having done the more difficult steep stuff of the mountain, getting back down on the normal flat was just so much fun. Very quick, desperate for a cold beer, so we just blasted back to the campsite as fast as we could. Tabletop Mountain. Second time around, much easier. Right, made it back to camp. Tabletop Mountain. Second time round, a lot easier, thank God. Right, till the next one, stay safe. See ya.